Hello, 45 Alpha Charlie Papa channel, and today we're going to take a look at another Cold War relic, and that is the Polish P83. Now this P83 I picked up at a local gun shop here, and I got a really good buy on it. You can find these online. I think J&G Sales is about the only ones out there that have them. They're running right around $219. That includes the gun, the magazine, and a holster. Now for that $219, you also have to add in shipping, which is going to be right around $15 to $30. And then depending on your FFL, what your transfer fee is going to be. I've seen those range anywhere from $10 to $100. So you could have a good $275 or so, give or take, in this gun if you buy it online. I picked this up at a local gun store, and it was the gun, magazine, a rug to put it in, not a holster, and a box of 9mm Makarov for $199, which was a pretty good buy. Plus tax, you were right at $212. So a really good buy at my local store, and that's something that I like to do. I'm not a big internet gun buyer. I like to look at the internet, get my pricing, and see if I can't find those weapons that I desire to have. I've got a short list in my head of stuff I'm looking for and kind of pricing, and if I happen to see something and I can't afford it at the time, or if I want it and I don't know much about it, I'll go research it. If I can't get it then, I'll have an idea that, hey, this is what this is the going rate, etc., etc., and see if I can't find one. But you know, this one kind of fell into my hands. I looked at it about 3 weeks ago. I was in the shop, he had it, it was sitting there. I didn't quite pull the trigger at that time, but this weekend I went in there, he still had it sitting there. Like I said, he added threw in the box of ammo, threw in the gun rug. I went ahead and took it home. But the P83 is what replaced the Polish P64. Now the Polish P64 is a very close copy to the Walther PPK. This is a very popular handgun for them. They really liked it. They really liked its compact size. You know, if you're in the military, if you're pulling your pistol, you're in pretty deep doo-doo. But they came out with a P64 because they had to have a 9x18 Makarov loaded pistol, and they did not want to follow Mother Russia and, like Bulgaria did, and make a copy of the Makarov. Now these are not Makarovs, they are Makarov chambered pistols, based off the Makarov design, also based on some other designs. But these are their own pistols in their own right. They do just shoot the 9x18 Makarov round. The problem that the Poles had with this, right around 1970, they started looking into possibly changing this pistol, and they made a couple changes to it, but they realized that this pistol, being made the way it was, it's an old milled steel. A lot of polishing, a lot of buffing, a lot of finishing has to be done to this to make a good quality pistol and a working pistol. And it was very, very expensive to make. So around 72, they started looking at alternatives to make a pistol like this, but cheaper. And what they came out with was the Polish P83 Wanad. Wanad kind of stands for Vanadium, I believe. It's just a gray steel. I don't know why they named it, but that's what they named it. Now this pistol had a couple different variations to it in its early stages of development. They did eventually go with a stamped steel slide, but some of the early ones, they were using an aluminum frame to lighten it up. They actually made one of these with a polymer frame to lighten it up, but what they eventually came up with and decided on was the stamped steel frame. This pistol is stamped steel and welded together. Very easy to make, very quick to make, and it came out to be a pretty decent little pistol. Now, is it as pretty as the P64? No, it's not. But for a military firearm, for a police firearm, it does everything it needs to do. Now, when they decided to do this, they also made a few improvements upon the design. If you'll notice that is larger than the P64. It's longer, a little bit longer in the stock too. This gun holds 6 rounds. The new version holds 8. Now, I know they looked at some higher capacity models, but they just didn't come to fruition. I think there was some concern about restrictions in trying to sell these, because not only did the Polish sell these to the military, but they sold these to the police and they sold these to the civilian market. And there were some more restrictions if you're a police officer, and a few more restrictions if you were a civilian with magazine capacity. So they stuck with the 8-round single stack magazine. Another nicer feature on this, now it does feature a heel release, but it is one of the better heel releases out there. The P64 heel release is really hard to get to. It sits deep in this little socket here, and you've got to really dig in there to get to it. With the heel release on this one, it's just pushing this lever down. And as you can see, the magazine drops very freely when you pull it. So when you go to unload it, it's just a matter of pushing this as you're reloading, pushing it with your thumb, removing your magazine, grabbing your other magazine and putting it in. Is it as fast as the traditional magazine release on the side? I don't know. I think you can probably get used to either one. I know with Soviet countries, a lot of times you were issued just a couple of magazines, and you had to keep track of these, and you didn't want these falling on the ground. You didn't want them crushed, because then you would be out of weapon if both your magazines were destroyed. Another thing that they did with this gun is they added a larger spur on the hammer to make it a lot easier to cock. It's a lot easier to brush up against your leg and cock it. And you've got a sight here that's a little square up front that you can get on the side of your pant pocket or whatever and rack this slide with if you needed to. It is just standard sights, driftable rear, fixed front. Another thing that they added to this pistol was a slide release. The P64 will lock back on the last round. Unfortunately, there's no slide release on the other side. So you've got to, and this is a dummy round, there's no powder, no primer. So let's go ahead and put this in here. But in order to put that slide down, you've got to chamber the next round and slingshot it. This one, when you get to the last round, another dummy round, you can pull down the release and let the slide drop. So another advancement of this pistol. One of the major advancements in this pistol is the trigger. One of the reputations of this gun is it's got a very stout double action trigger. The double action trigger in this is 22 pounds. Very, very, very heavy. Single action is not bad, but the double action in that is very heavy. The double action in this one is 11 pounds. Now, it is kind of stacky. It's kind of like going up and over a hill. I mean, it stacks, 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 and then rolls off the other side. The single action, you got a pretty short take up, and the single action is just really crisp. So as a single action gun, this is a very solid single action trigger. Double action trigger is doable. Your takedown for this is very similar to other Makarovs. One of the unique things on this is that, let's go ahead and drop the mag, clear the chamber. You pull this block down instead of pulling the whole trigger guard, and that go ahead and then you slide off. Let's take a look. If you want to take a look at the construction of this, I don't know if you can see it very well, but if you look in there, you have to focus, you can see along here the weld where they took these two pieces of stamped steel and welded them together. If you flip it over to the other side, you can see a discoloration in the bluing where that weld is and where it was smoothed out. There you go. You can see it very well there. You can kind of see it along here too in the right light. But that's just to show that, you know, it's a stamped steel frame, stamped steel slide. Very easy to maintain, very easy to put together, take apart for field stripping. A relatively simple gun to take care of and use. So let's go back out to the range, take a look at it, and we'll come back with my thoughts. All right, P83 Makarov, first shots. Haven't even cleaned this gun. I bought it at a range. I know they said that one guy had rented it and it wasn't clean, but let's go ahead and give it a try here, see what we think. Oh, flinch. Not bad. Little low, little to the left, but grouping really nice for a 1986 surplus weapon. Really like it. Let's go ahead and put a few more rounds through it. All right, second magazine of the P83 Wanad. Yeah, I had a little flinch in that last series. Don't get to go out and shoot enough, so sometimes I gotta kind of work that flinch out when I first get to the range. But let's see what we get this time. Well, if I do my job, it'll do its. I do like the paddle release on this one, or that heel release. It's just a little button here, so you just push it down and it comes free. A little bit easier to manipulate than the P64, but kind of enjoying this pistol. If I do my job, it does its job. So yeah, check it out, P83. All right, we are back from the range, and what a pleasure to shoot. I really like shooting the Makarovs. Just something about them. I shoot them very well. They lend themselves to decent accuracy with that fixed barrel and blowback. You're talking a little bit more powerful than a 380, not quite as powerful as a 9mm Luger. But they are a pleasure to shoot. Like I said in the video, if I do my job, it will do its job. And I really enjoy it. These larger grips on this make this a lot better to shoot than its sexier sibling here. This one stings a little bit more in the hand. As a shooter's gun, this is a nicer gun to shoot. As a looking at gun, the P64 is a lot better looking gun. Quality wise, they're both going to last the test of time. They both hold up well over the long haul. If you can get these now, get them. You know, who knows how many more are ever going to get imported to the country. I don't know how many more of these are in Poland. I don't know if these are going to be any more of these are going to be imported. These are plentiful right now. You can get them from several sources. Still right around that $199 range. This one, I'm only finding it at one supplier. That's J&G Sales. They've been on and off at other suppliers, but if you get a chance to pick one of these up and you're a Cold War weapons buff like I am, these are a valuable gun to add to your collection. I'm going to do a video at some point with all my Makarovs. You just saw 3 of the 4 that I have. Just kind of a Mac attack video. I like the Makarov round, and I'm sorry I call them all Makarovs. There's only one true one true Makarovs, and these just fire that particular cartridge. But because they all fire Makarovs, I still call it the Mac Attack. Anyway, this is 45 Rifle Charlie Papa channel, and you know, these are a dream to shoot. Another one to keep in the collection. I really enjoyed shooting this gun. I really enjoyed the improved ergonomics of this gun, that improved heel release for the slide, the improved trigger on this one, the hammer spur so you can actually cock it back a little bit easier. All liked and valuable improvements. The bigger handle on it, so it's not quite as harsh to shoot as its sexier little sibling here, or older sibling here. But this is 45 Alpha Charlie Papa channel, and this is the Polish. Let's go ahead and turn this around so you can see the other side. P83. What do you think?
It's good.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.